Test. Alright, guys, welcome back. Today we are going to do whatever I'm going to do, which is nothing. Anyway, I don't know what I'm doing, but we are just gonna stick to whatever we're doing. So let's take a look at what I'm even trying to do. Oh yeah, I was trying to make a canvas for this dude or something. Yeah, it looks pretty dumb. I don't know why I'm being so dumb, bruh. Let's just take a look at some code, and I don't know why you keep bringing up VS Code, bro. How do I even fix this? Because VS Code does not like, it's not like my stuff. Wonder if it actually worked this time, or I just changed back to Writer, because Writer is just superior. And as you can see, I don't see any documentation, no nothing. So I assume that this is still not going to work. Which is probably why. What is trying to download .NET? Do I really not have .NET? Oh, is it working? Ain't no way. It is not working, bro. This thing does not know anything. Yeah. Anyway, that's why you don't use VS Code for this. I'm gonna change this back to Writer. I mean, Writer is technically superior. Where's my preferences for preferences? Yeah, change this to Writer. I should probably figure out that out my own time. But Writer is just superior. Yes, sir. Come on, give me my boy. Stuff, boy. Hey, yeah, okay. I don't know what the hell I'm doing, bro. What is this? Yeah, I don't know what is going on here. Let me actually, do this correctly. Probably just gonna scrap everything again, because like, what is going on? Get rid of all this. Why is it looking like this? Zoom in. Out, please. Why is it zooming in? Can you zoom out? Oh, here's the zoom. There we go. All right, let's go. So, what do we have so far? We have some weird looking thing. Player model. I don't really think it's necessary to be honest. I mean, I know there's supposed to be like the model controller sort of thing, but like I think we just don't worry about model controller. I think the model should also just exist here. We should just think of it as an entity rather than controller model, because this is not a web application, bro. This is a video game. So let's look at some video game architecture, bro. Co-design patterns. That word, ship it. I don't care about any of this, to be honest. Like, I just want a real example code architecture. This makes no sense to me. Okay. So configuring input. Okay, that's where inputs. What is a singleton, bro? Ensure class 1 instance provide good equivalent to access it. I don't even know what I'm reading here. What is this? Instance? I mean, I know what it's doing, but like, yeah, whatever. Yeah, I don't think this has anything to do with what I'm trying to do. It's what component. Input dot this. It's actually pretty cool. But how is this gonna get run? We have this, cool. But that is pretty cool though, right? Because we have this guy doing the work rather than this class doing the work. And this guy just holds some data. So you don't want monolithic. Even I know that, but hey, this pattern is something that seems very different from what I'm used to. So I guess you have an update loop, and the loop does this. I have no idea, bro. Okay, so you say input the update this, and that dude's gonna update. So what I'm right now, probably any sense. We probably want some sort of input controller, right? I think that's what this is saying. But then how would you update the movement? You just do velocity and somehow. But anyway, let me go back to my drawing board because I'm just to follow this plan of this guy's plan. And so we have a player, right? And we probably want to attach this HUD. I guess the HUD should be responsible, so what I'm thinking of is I think I should just draw it. Oops. Can you not do that? Thinking is right, the HUD will contain the player, and he's going to be responsible for everything. But the problem is, how would I update anything, right? So if I take damage, so we have the enemy, right? And the enemy attacks this dude, right? Attacks the player. How would you update the HUD? You don't, right? Unless you have a direct reference, which I don't know if that's even possible. Yeah, so this does not use we do not use model controller sort of things. I'll just call this player for now. Sorry, thing. Because it doesn't really make sense. I'm just gonna keep it simple, monolithic style, even though it's not a good idea. What this means. We don't need this, I don't feel. You can just get rid of this. Honestly, just get rid of everything. The HUD has a label and a hit point slider. Is it? Right, and I wonder if I can actually, if I just give it the character instead. So So we don't really need. We really should call this a character rather than a player, but it's that for now. But I might be able to get ampersand. Is it not possible? Yeah, it's too complicated. How to get reference of objects in C#. Similar to pointers or let's see. When you pass an object to a method or assign it to a variable, you're actually passing or assigning a reference to this object. This reference acts as a pointer as a. For example, so it's getting passed in as a reference, what I'm seeing. But even so, because I want character HUD to automatically update it, but then the player has to notify the character HUD for that to happen, right? So it doesn't even make sense for me. So I want HUD to do all that work, but at the same time, that's possible. Now I could give it an update function, right? And then all player has to do is notify, and then HUD would do the work. Because there's no way to give a reference and store it. So in other words, you probably want this sort of design, right? Instead of this, where you hold a player, you just give it an update function. That way, there's no coupling either. I don't even need mono behavior for this, but whatever. Do update HUD, right? And instead of doing this, we just update it. So we want the player. So character. We need a character. Interface. And of course, you want to use I because they're stupid. We don't need namespace. Anyway, so we don't really care about max hit point and stuff like that. I think we just deal with this as it is. So like, we just say hit point. We'll deal with like the live version. This is gonna be an instance version, right? Unless you want us to change it to live instance. So this should let me change this again. We want player to notify or to update their stuff. We'll assign player a HUD, and then the player will, whenever you take damage, you do stuff. So let me get character, right? We want to give characters some universal functions. It wants get name character name. It should really return a string. We also want we really need this though, because we know that's gonna be a component. But this might not even be necessary, really. Let's just keep it like this. So get character name. And you want to like take damage command or set damage. We don't want set, right? Set kind of weird. So string take. This probably should be a void or a boolean. We can also make this boolean. But for now, I mean, I think it should be. I think we should make a boolean, really. Like if you take damage, return true. But if you don't take damage, then you don't return true, right? But then that doesn't make sense either because we want a battle system to work well. So how does this work? Because the way that the damage system works is going to be dependent on skill sets. Okay. So here's the thing, right? We want enemy characters to be able to use skills or take actions, really. Let's just say combat, right? A player can perform a skill. So let's talk about how we process this. So a player can use a skill set, use a skill, or attack an enemy. Or let's just say take action, battle action. You can utilize skills, and you can also utilize let's just give it an action. Attack action. Right. Because you can attack, or you can use well, you can really just take any actions in general. So let's just say action. You can use an action, and then I don't want the player to process this action. I want something other system to process this action. Combat system will take this. We'll take this action and then deal the damage to the enemy via take damage or whatever it decides it can do. But we still want to be able to have take damage on the combat system for this be handled. So we will continue this path and we want to give it a float. And of course, we also want everything else. We also want to do is get hit points. Get character name. Get hit point. Get a flip from that. Now we can check how much hit point every character has. There's stuff like get hit. So we do want an attack action, right? We definitely want people to use an action, and then if it's a attack action, well, it doesn't matter what action it takes. Because I know just like movement actions, which can be completely different. We could also give a movement system. So instead of giving player everything, we can give player a movement system. Now we'll update this for you. So we should probably try it out with the movement system first, shouldn't I say that? So we could give it a movement system and we say when you do some inputs, do something. Right, okay, so we can say like okay, we are going crazy. Let's just start with the easy part, right? Movement system. So let's just say that you can move, but then every character has different movement systems. I guess it's the input system. It's more like it, right? The player moves, do gets an input actually. Player can input will get the input and tell how a player moves. Yeah, this is really confusing. I don't know what I'm thinking. Maybe I'm just completely overthinking it. And this doesn't even make any sense. So we need to have everything drawn out. Otherwise, this doesn't make no sense to me. We can do the normal input. Yeah, I think that's too confusing. I wonder if it's even possible to do stuff. The character dot. Because I know that you're also mono behavior. Can't inherit that one. That is player. But I'm able to get velocity or something. What can you get? Oh, you can get like rigid body and stuff like that. Anyway, we don't really care about that. So we want character. We want character dot get hit points. And you want the label really to change. Label dot name. Dot text. You can also change the slider. Slider. Equals. Anyway, so if I can get this to work. Okay, now this should work, right? And the character, whenever you take damage, you'll update the. Here's just call character.update HUD, and that should technically work. Either that, or we have a watcher that watches whenever a player takes damage. Well, anyway, probably a good thing though. We probably should have a watcher that checks whether somebody takes damage. Because then in the future or something, like we want to be able to see if someone takes damage or not, and want that to trigger some things. So having a damage watcher actually makes sense. You want something to register as a watcher. So instead, we can just say, you know what? It might be a good idea. So what we can say is, so when a player takes damage, right? You'll register yourself as a watcher. Yeah, so a character should have a watcher. So they have their own little thing, and then you can register to be watched. And then whenever you do something, you'll trigger everybody that's registered as a watcher. Basically, what we want is a trigger, right? So when you take damage, you have a damage trigger. And it'll trigger everybody that's currently registered to watch this character. Let's look at that drawing board. Right, so if a player takes damage, you'll notify all the watchers and update them. But first, you have to register as a watcher, right? Otherwise, you wouldn't really know. I mean, for now, we'll just do this, since we don't know when we'll ever need that. So, character HUD, it'll update whenever you take damage. You call that. So let's implement everything. There's going to be a way to implement my stuff. There we go. Then we just want to return Make it serialized, right? If I do this, what's gonna happen? Let's remove all these components. Yeah, that still works. Player name. Here's the thing, right? We want instance and we want the blueprint version. So like max defense. What state? Character state. That you actually change. So we don't want this. We just want to do this, right? Hit points, attack. And we really just want a state version of this character. We want an instance or a state, because this is like that's what we call the max. What the actual character is, but not during the state, because that can change. So we want a state variable that will contain the states for everything. So let's do this. Let's actually make a class called character states. And this is actually gonna be a class rather than an interface, because you know it's gonna be completely public. And we also have character stats. That's current state, and then that's stats, right? Character stat. Statistics. That's all. Character stat, character stat. That looks really weird. Let's probably rename that to character static. Statistics. Okay, hit point. There's probably infinite ways to do this. Why is it like this? Let's just get a model behavior so you don't freaking say that. Attack. Let's just do the basics. And we'll copy this exact same thing over to... Wait, that doesn't even make sense. What am I doing? Because if you really think about it, since they're the same thing, we can just say state instead of having both the statistics and that. We can just do this actually. Delete this garbage and here we go. Now we have a character state. And we can get an instant state, current state, and we can also give a blueprint state. We could also just call it character model. And that would also make sense. Because then we'll have two instances of this. Character. We have blueprint state. And then we have current state. Let's call it state. Just do this for now. So now you have two states. We actually want this to be serializable too. Actually, no, we don't really care. So now we have a blueprint state and we have a current state, which will allow us to do things that doesn't really make sense. So what's going to happen is we actually probably need this field whatsoever. Well, we don't need this to be serialized. what happened is the current state will just equal everything. Let's just copy this. So when you start character states, just going to this should create a copy. And then that way, when you take damage, you change the state. Something like that, right? Should I call or should I use the blueprint? Well, let me see how you do get current state. Let's just do get hit point. If you get hit point is S equals to 0, then you want to return false. Actually, it doesn't even matter really. I think that we should just change this to void for now, because I don't really need this. We can get rid of this entirely. And we want to do this with a math.max function, so it's clamped between 8 and 0. And then get hit points, just return current state hit point. Yeah, that should work. We should probably change this to another function. New state. Well, for now, we're just gonna leave it like this. Whatever. But now we need a way to do damage, right? Well, so whenever you take damage, you also want to call the update. Here, want to call this update dot. Why is it not showing on? Oh, that should be public. And that should work. I mean, later on, we probably want a watcher. Give people to a choice to register in this. We will probably want like a watcher that has watched this character. And if something happens, yeah, do stuff. But for now, we'll just leave it like this. We don't need anything else, really. So now, if we look at this, we will now be perfectly fine. So we can actually attach this to your boy monster, I guess, or enemy NPCs. But as a player, you do get that option to move around. So we want to give the player a movement. So let's see how we want to give her a movement. Do we want to? I don't think we want this update function to deal with any of that really. So we should probably make an input component that allows us to get input. Component requires stuff. We probably want a rigid body for this player too. Because, I mean, that's what that matters. Let's get rigid body here. And do we make this? Yeah, we'll make this private. And then we want get uh, then we want this stuff where We could make this public, but we can also make this private. I think we should make this, don't worry about this, and we just give a function that says get rigid body as public. Uh, uh, I mean, usually you would call a function to do stuff for you. But if I do player, that means you have to be a player to control the input. So I get in a way that it does make sense. So let's just make a movement input system. And this input system will do the work for you. So how is it going to work? So as a player, you just want to have the input system do stuff for you. So private input system. We can do this. This input system will allow you to move, actually. Because that's how this guy is doing it. If you take a look at his function here, yeah, okay, I got it. So we just say the input system is just saying update something. It's just saying update this. I can also pass that in. No, you can't pass that. Okay, so we can just say update. This should be completely public. Let me get rid of this. that, we want to say, how do we get input? Just key with get key. I'll rename this to player input system. Let me say if get key a private movement system. Movement color and update movements. That's whatever. Let's just do this for now. Decode.w. Then we want to velocity. This could be public actually. We can make character state public too. That way we can just grab. Nah, that makes no sense. What am I talking about? I probably want a function in character that allows you to get all your stats. Get new vector player velocity dot get player RB velocity, player dot. We don't have current X, and we just change to player dot and get movement speed. I guess it'll be current movement speed rather than blueprint version. I don't think you should ever need to know the blueprint version. In theory, that should allow us to move upward. Let's say else. Oops. Okay, so now we can say so we can technically set if there's no W up and down movement, then we just don't care about up and down movement. So we just set to 0. We can also set up oh, I messed that up. That should be like this into key W, right? Unless I'm being stupid. No, I'm being stupid. What is this? Convert into, I don't need that. Because I need another if else. But then we want there we go. So now we go back here and see this compile. We have a player will have a HUD. do um let's call player. Rigid body component. That should be, I guess it should be private actually. Um, is that a real thing? I don't think that's a real thing. Oh, it is a real thing? So if I do this, then it'll disappear from here. Wow, that actually works. That's pretty cool. So blueprint states. Now, it's not a real component, so it doesn't even make sense. Player, when I drag the player, see. So player also wants character state. And when I drag the character state, that's the character state, so. Let's see, at 100 hit points, 5 attack, 5 defense, 5 speed. Or, yeah, let's do that. In theory, this should at least allow me to move up and down. It does not. There is no. That's not what we're looking for. Maybe this should be this. That doesn't make sense because it's static. If no comparison to null is expensive. This could work. That is not work, actually. Unfortunately, that did not work. So this doesn't work for some reason. No idea why this doesn't work. You should technically be calling this piece of code, but it's not doing that for some reason. I wonder if I need a behavior for this to work. But that doesn't make sense either. I mean, this technically should work because you're in different thing. How do I debug this? So if I want the system to work, I know there's like a debug mode. And if I click play, it probably tell me some stuff. Dot, 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 dot. So if you look, we can look at the current state. Oh, you know what's happening? We don't have a rigid component. It's the actual problem. We can probably remove this now. Let's also remove this. That should technically work now. Hey, now it's working. But for some reason, he's moving down all the time. But gravity is set, isn't it? We don't want gravity. There's also drag. But it should be fine. for why this doesn't show up is kind of weird. Why does this not show up? So it works if we do it like this. What is the size? This is the camera. This is the HUD. Let's just see what happens if I do this. So we don't want this to be on the camera, really. Right. Why is just overlay? World space? I mean, it kind of works, but it doesn't follow the player. To world space. Cool, but it's not showing up. This was saying the camera may not use it. How does that work? It's not showing up exactly. Camera world to screen point. Yeah, no idea what that means. Let me just see if I set it to 1, what happens. This thing is not popping up. I'm just gonna say that. It's not popping up anywhere. I can't see it. That's not what it is. I feel like that's fine, everything. Yeah, I got no idea. It's not showing up. Oh, it is too massive. At the very least, now I know why. So how do I... just take this and shrink this down. This does not want to shrink. This thing is massive. I might be able to resize everything here. You can have it auto size. This should be fine. How do I auto size this thing though? All right, so I think we're done for today. I'll try to see how I make this text actually work rather than having it overlay on the camera. I want to overlay attach it to an object, follow it to move, because I don't think I want this to do what it's currently doing right now. I'm sure it'll somehow figure it out. I feel like the camera is really weird. But it's more weird that this massive canvas is on here and I can't change much. But yeah, let's just keep it like this for now. All right. I think we did a pretty good job here. Start with the player. The player has a HUD, a name, states about it, a rigid body, input system. And this input system does whatever it wants to. just input system do the job. And we have a bunch of different functions. We have this stuff. And we have HUD with different sliders, which we probably should change this to also hit slider above the max value. Yeah, see, now that's a problem. Because we need to access some data that we don't really have anywhere else. But yeah, it's whatever. We can live with this. All right. Oh yeah, that's it. Goodbye.